When we experience deep emotional pain, our first instinct is almost always to hide it. We craft a brave face for our friends and family, smiling through conversations and insisting we are doing fine when we are falling apart inside. We carry that exact same habit into our spiritual lives. Before we speak to God, we feel a sudden pressure to dress up our pain, carefully wrapping our hurt in spiritual-sounding language so it feels fit for His ears. We do this because we often assume that presenting raw, negative emotions, like deep despair or actual anger, to God is a sign of weak faith. The problem is, maintaining that sanitized, perfectly polished version of yourself is exhausting. It forces you to constantly filter your reality, which creates a wall of disconnection between you and God. When we filter what we say to God, we effectively keep Him at arm's length. By only presenting a version of ourselves that seems to have it all together, we prevent our actual hurting selves from experiencing any real connection. Take King David. Historically, he is remembered as a pillar of faith, but his actual approach to prayer was often messy and completely unpolished. Let's break down the opening line of Psalm 13. David writes, "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever?" He isn't being polite here. He is desperate, bringing his genuine confusion to the surface. This unfiltered grief is a formal structural mechanism called lament. Language like this shows a man who has dropped the spiritual facade. He is genuinely hurting, and he is bringing that hurt to the only person he believes can do something about it. Biblical lament proves an important point about prayer. God does not need an informational update on your well-being. The framework exists so that we have a way to process our own pain in His presence. Curious, which raises a logical question. Why explicitly vocalize your anger and confusion to an omniscient being who already knows exactly how you feel? Since the words aren't for His information, the act of speaking them is actually for us. It is the process of externalizing our internal reality so that we can finally begin to deal with it. Bringing these difficult parts of yourself, the disappointment, the exhaustion, the confusion, is an act of faith. You are choosing to hand your hardest emotions over to someone you believe is capable of holding them. This maps two ways we handle pain. You can broadcast frustration in every direction, like screaming into an empty room, or create a direct, targeted transmission line. Aiming your despair validates that the receiver is listening and is the right address for your pain. Faith isn't the absence of these dark emotions. It is the active, intentional direction of those emotions toward God. If you read to the end of Psalm 13, there is a stark structural shift. David starts with bitter questions, but by the final verse, he concludes by saying, "I will sing the Lord's praise." He didn't reach that conclusion by pretending his pain wasn't real, and he didn't simply wait for the feelings to go away on their own. This process diagram shows two distinct anchor points: suffering and praise. Lament is the active transit David uses to move from one state to the other. You don't have to wait until you feel fine to approach God. You can bring your real self to Him right now. Bring your current, unpolished emotions forward today. Whether it is disappointment, feelings of anger, or deep exhaustion, name exactly what you are feeling and trust Him with it. The ultimate resolution David finds suggests that moving toward genuine praise involves a direct path through the pain. By being honest about where we are, we allow ourselves to be led through the discomfort to the other side.